Hello once again, my readers of good literature. My name is Nick Pell, and this is coming from my townhouse living room once again. This week's book that I have for you guys is Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. I read this over the course of about 2 weeks' time, which it probably shouldn't have taken me that long, but it's a freaking long book to get through. It's only about 181 pages, I believe, in that edition that I have is the Tribeca Books edition. Never heard of it, but that's the edition that I have. As usual, let's start with characters, and our first character is the story's pretty much main character, Jim Hawkins. And Jim is basically this kid who we meet, who is a kid who works in a tavern with his parents. He comes across a old pirate one day, and he more or less becomes friends with the guy, and then stuff happens that I'll get to in the plot. But just know that Jim is the central character. He's the one that the story mainly revolves around, and his interactions with different people is the main thing that we see. Our second main character is John Silver. He is a very interesting character in that he's the sea cook of the Hispaniola. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think I'm saying that right. But he's a sea cook, and he's a very interesting character because he's very two-sided. He kind of does what is the best option for him at the given moment. And he has a peg leg, he has a parrot, so he's kind of the typical pirate that you think about when you think of a pirate nowadays. So yeah, again, I'll get to him a little bit more in the plot too. And our last main character that I'm going to get to is Dr. Livesey. He's kind of more of a side character, but he's also an important character. He shows up at the beginning of the story as well, and he's kind of the guy who looks out for Jim. He has his points in the story where he's significant, and then he's kind of just off to the side at other points. Now, there are other characters in this book. There's a bunch of other ones. I'm not going to get to them all because that would make the review 20 minutes, and I don't feel like filming another Song by Some Fire review. With the plot, like I said, it starts out with Jim Hawkins, and he works in a pub, basically, as far as I can tell, with his parents. And then one day, a pirate shows up. He's kind of intimidating, and then someone kind of talks him down. Dr. Livesey talks him down. He kind of respects everyone after that. And then some of this pirate's old comrades show up one day, and they attack him, and they want the map to Treasure Island. Jim ends up with the map, and it causes him to end up going with Dr. Livesey, John Silver, and a bunch of other people on the Hispaniola, and they search out Treasure Island. And the majority of the plot does take place on Treasure Island. They find it fairly quickly, and then multiple events happen. The reason I say John Silver is a very complicated character is because there are times where he will switch sides very often. He starts out looking like kind of a good character, and then he starts looking like a bad character, and then flip-flops from that point on. And so figuring out what side he is really on is a very interesting thing to think about. And so that's the plot. I don't want to spoil a lot because if you haven't read it, I don't want to give anything away. So yeah, moving on to themes. First theme in this is the sense of adventure. This was also significant in The Hobbit, I believe, but it's basically the idea of going out and doing a journey and doing something unexpected. And Jim Hawkins, he starts out kind of as a kid. He's very innocent. He doesn't really know a lot about the world outside of his one little town, and then goes out to sea, experiences all these different things, and then he becomes more or less a different person. And it's that sense of adventure that a lot of stories have nowadays. There's also a sense of justice in terms of some people that mutiny. It's an idea of figuring out what's the best way to discipline them and what's the best way to deal with them. And if justice is deserved for a lot of people, or if it's even fairly given. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is loyalty, and that again goes with certain characters, John Silver for one, Jim for one, because some characters don't really know where his loyalties are all the time, and same goes with Silver. Those are the themes that I thought of just now, and so yeah, leave any others in the comments if you want to, and I'd be happy to talk about those with you. Moving on to enjoyment, and I did enjoy the book for the most part. It does kind of take a little while to get through at sometimes, so that can be kind of a pain. But like it's a less than 200 page book, but it took me about 2 weeks to get through because it's really thick and it's a lot of stuff, and a few chapters. So yeah, overall I did like it. It does slow down a few points, but overall it's a pretty good read. I definitely recommend it if you like pirate stuff, if you are a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, or anything along those lines. So that's my review. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. My name is Nick Pell, and once again, my good people, keep on reading.